Hi guys, today I want to talk about asking your friend to act as an extension of yourself. This can be very difficult, but it can also be a very good thing. This might run into a bit of a long video and I apologize. But before we start talking, please like, subscribe and leave some comments. It is important to feel comfortable to ask for help when needed, for not only for medical and reasons of personal dignity, but also it's also important to ask for help so that you can remain in a sociable, acceptable state. Because if you're going to struggle to do everything yourself, all the fine motor skills, all the things that you struggle with, let's say if you're dyslexic and you're struggling to read the screen, can you imagine how long it's going to take you at the ATM? If you adapt your way of thinking and just go and draw your money at the Pick n Pay till, it'll be just much faster because you have somebody acting as your extension. Because at the till you ask for a balance inquiry. The cashier will hand you your balance and you can request 400 Rand please, 1000 Rand please. It takes away the fine motor skills of punching in a code and then applying the steps. The cashier can only draw what you ask for. In the same way, when you ask for help from a friend or when you train a friend to act as an extension, you're doing exactly the same thing. But it's very important not to make the friend feel as if you're ordering them around, but also to explain to them, if you don't help me, what will take me 5 minutes to do is going to take you 2. So if you run for me and make my body do what my mind wants it to do, we can both save a lot of time and both of our dignities remain intact. But it's more important to not be too unreasonable. For example, everybody's sleep cycle is different. So you may go to bed at 9 o'clock and only require 3 hours of sleep, and then want to wake up and start working. Your colleague or your friend who's helping you along might still sleep, but it's unreasonable to then wake them up at 12 o'clock at night and request for them to go to the shop and buy you a chocolate. That's unfair. But the extension dynamic simply works as if I just said, make my body do what my mind wants it to do even though I know I physically can't. I've demonstrated this to you in previous videos. You have to learn to be reasonable. It's important for me to highlight this message because if I don't, everybody's going to feel burdened and then your social circle will grow smaller and you'll be stuck in your home on a Friday night where that is not necessarily the way or where you want to be. But you have to realize that the way you are perceived is very important. So it is about forming a synergy and a symbiotic relationship. Now, I hate to sound in any way discriminatory, but unfortunately it is the way it is. Sometimes you can transact better cerebrally than what another person can. So then you and the person who's better physically pay yourselves off and you work symbiotically together for mutual benefit. So for example, when I was a kid, the simplest analogy, and I know I've used this in a couple of videos. When I was a kid, I went to school with children with a mixed bag of fortunes. Sometimes the children would live on the hostel, and sometimes they would just be poor. They would be day pupils like me, but they wouldn't be able to bring bread to school or have all the stationery. But I couldn't write for myself, well, fast enough anyway. So what I was taught to do was to ask somebody to write for me. But this was very difficult because it's difficult to explain to a kid what divergent thinking is and act as an extension, in other words, interact professionally. the kids were thinking they were doing all my work for me. Meanwhile, they were just taking notes. So I had to form something symbiotic. I would find the kid with the lowest self-esteem and befriend him or her, you know. I would find the poor kid and share my prit and a slice of bread with him or her, just so that my notes would be taken. In the same way, life can be lived this way, you know. I hope this helps in some way. Let me know what you think. But it's definitely easier to sometimes ask for help and give help, even if it's only on a mental level, than struggle to do everything for yourself just because the parents of the 1980s and 70s are forcing the model of perfect. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, any comments, leave them in the comment section below.